Hey guys, what's up? This is Shark talking. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video will be a little different because I cannot edit, so it will have to be in a single take because, well, today was a busy day and I didn't have the time to make the separate video for every single stuff I want, but we'll be doing more reviews tomorrow maybe. So stay with me and let's talk about everything that belongs to the half anniversary celebration. First of all, we have the half anniversary missions that give you some very nice stuff like points that you can use for purchase some stuff from the shop, and also this very specific thing here that's called, let's see, half anniversary exchange ticket. But this one is different than the one that we can use for platinum summons. This one is to trade for specific characters. We'll be talking about this. And guys, first of all, don't summon yet, because we can use a lot of platinum tickets for the half anniversary that will contain the same characters that we can choose. So it's wise to wait a little, so maybe you can get a character that you want before having to use the specific exchange tickets. So just try to clear all the stuff here. The ones that will take the most time is those that you have to defeat a lot of enemies, like 4,000 enemies. I already cleared that recently. But please don't use this. Don't use. Also, it will take some time because you have to clear the big treasure hunt 12 times. Okay, so let's click here, and I want to talk about this banner. Alongside the half anniversary celebration, we have two different banners, and they are super important, and we need to talk about them. I talked about them in my live stream, but I think it's needed to talk a little more here. For those that have paid gems and think about purchasing paid gems, this is an awesome offer because it guarantees at least one SS on the 50th step. Yeah. 5 steps, you get a guarantee of every, at least one of these 3 characters. So maybe you get 2 before you have to go to the 50th, and then you maybe get all the characters with less cost. Especially now, purchasing paid gems will be more valuable. They are releasing this banner now, but in the future they will keep releasing banners like this one, so now the daily paid gems lose a lot of value, because you can instead save the gems and wait for banners like this one here. So let's start talking about the Polka banner. And guys, I will have to be careful when talking about characters from now on, because the developers are super smart and this game is super balanced. Yeah, it is. And some characters are stronger than others, but they are not so much stronger. But starting from here, the characters will never be totally bad anymore. Starting from the first anniversary, the developers started developing characters that are good at least for one purpose, and they work for at least one purpose. So that's something that you need to think about when summoning for characters. Maybe it's not the best character, but it adds utility to your squad, and that's where you decide if it worth summoning or not. So I'll click here on style. So try to talk about all the characters. We have Polka Linwood as the first one. This is the protagonist. The first attack is called Fire Feather, and it's a very good attack because it's only 2 BP, C power, so that means that he can spend this when he wants. It's single target, so this Polka and this Liz are single target damage dealers. They will receive AoE versions in the future, but right now they are single target damage dealers. They can be used for some farming, but I believe the AoE attackers will be better in the future, but right now they are the best damage dealers for every element that they belong. Polka is the best fire attacker and Liz is the best cold attacker. Fire Feather is a good attack because it's exclusive, at least now. And Magnetic Explosion is an old attack that's not so good, so I think you should ignore Magnetic Explosion since it's 9 BP for an 8 damage. You know, we usually want 8 BP here. And the last one is Scatter Explosions, and this attack here is incredible. It's considered the strongest attack in the game, because it can hit up to 5 times, starting from 3 times. You can already see here, you attack it at least 4 times. It's a super strong attack that only uses 9 BP once fully awakened. It will be considered the best attack, even considering some future release in Japan. Man, if you release this Polka in Japan right now, some people will still summon for him because of this skill alone. This skill for the original release was only 3 hits, and now it can be even 5 hits. It still deals with RNG, but guys, some challenges you can kinda retreat, and if you start with Polka dealing very high damage, maybe like we have some challenges like the barbarians. They are probably weak to heat. So if you start the fight and use this on turn 1, you can retreat up to the time that you got 5 hits. That will help you a lot in challenges. Not just for challenges, but maybe for Robin Cup, for Dojo. A lot of content will be very easier when using this attack here, and if you want to retreat. Some people don't like to retreat, but anyway, even if you don't hit 5 times, it is still a very powerful attack, just because this guy here has a very high intelligence. Well, both him and Liz have intelligence coming close to 100% increase. We were having characters with 80 something, but never 90 something, and now they are already getting close to 100. It's awesome to have this type of stuff in a character. Well, for abilities, he has Flame M2 that increases heat damage by 10%, Fired Up 4 for 15 more percent, and Flame War is a skill that is unique to them. In case of Polka, it ignores heat damage. He will not receive any damage from heat, and he will counterattack with a fire spell. Counterattacks will not activate when parries use it on the same turn. Well, this is exclusive to him because he can also use parry. So if he uses parries, he does not counterattack. Flame Ward nullifies the heat damage and counterattack with a fire spell, but you have to ignore parry. Well, a lot of people wanted to use parry with this version of Polka. I can see that there's no many reasons to. There's a lot of other users of parry, so you can kind of ignore this. Sadly, you cannot see much stuff here about his... let's see here. He's weak to cold. You can see that it's a thing that you have to consider when using him. I don't know why he has resistance against fire or heat, because he ignores the element completely. So, the problem is that we cannot check the information here, but his intelligence is super high, his most important status, and he also gets it very easily with his style. Because of Polka being super strong, I believe he's like the best single target damage dealer alongside Ellen from his banner as well. He deserves a 10 out of 10. Polka is just as strong as I'm saying. Well, the next character is Ellen, and Ellen... Well, another Ellen already? Yeah, that's right. Because this Ellen, it's coming from the future. He has Heavy Cut. Heavy Cut is a very nice attack. You see, it's a attack that can buff the STR. And man, it's just like using Ferry. Ferry uses an attack that uses 6 VP, and she keeps getting more buffs and buffs and buffs, but she cannot use it 3 times in a row. This Ellen will be able to use this 3 times in a row, even for starting of farming stage, or maybe for some content where you kind of have to keep dealing more and more damage, like some challenges, long fights. This is good because you can stack STR buffs. And she needs it, and she works super fine with Final Empress because she needs to stay on full HP. And Final Empress will also give her a morale buff, so it increases even more the damage. Heavy Cut is a very nice single target attack that will be relevant now and also for her future style. The second one is Mega Hawk. This is like Seismic Strike, Punishing Palm. It's an AoE attack that deals C power, 11 BP, so it can only be reduced to 9. It's a strong opener only for stages that have 2 waves. If you have a stage with more than 2 waves, that will be a problem. And even if you are using on a stage with 2 waves, you have to use another attack, because Heavy Cut is very costly. It can only be reduced to 5. So this comes the part where you have to inherit Heavy Slash from her award version. That is an attack with 4 BP that hits for a column. So if you are doing content that has only 2 waves, you can start with Mega Hawk, and then later you can use Heavy Slash. That allows her to be very good for AoE. But for long fights, 3 turns, she has a problem with auto-cycling. Okay, so the last one is Wild Fury, and man, this attack is amazing. It's an attack that can be like 3 to 5 hits, or 2 to 5, let's check here, 2 to 5. So there's a lot of RNG involved on this attack. It can only be used on turn 2 since it uses 16 VP. You can reduce it to 13, use it on turn 2. And there's a very interesting thing here. She gets 1 more BP by every hit that she performs on this skill. So you can get up to 5 BP recovered when she uses the skill. So this is the point where you use her on a slot where she has lower agility. And then you start the fight, the first wave, using skills from other characters, and then you use this Wild Fury on the second wave or just use this for challenges. It's a very strong attack, and like I said, with Polka you can retreat and just start the fight when she uses 5 attacks, sorry. But the problem is that, well, it's only on turn 2, so you have to retreat on turn 2. Well, this type of attacks are just like that. It has a lot of RNG involved, but if you want to cheese, you have to just try again. But even then, 2 hits here will not be so strong. Maybe at least 3 hits will give her a very good damage. But because she has a lot of good passives, Ellen will keep being a very strong slash damage dealer. I know that just damage keeps getting outdated, but even if you consider she is just damage, just look on her passives. She has 3 damage passives. Weak point focus increases 15% when she's using weak attack. 15% increase when she is on full HP. That is where I was saying that she works super fine with Final Empress, because she will heal her and also give a morale buff to get her to full HP and even more damage. The last one is fired up 4, so even more damage, totalizing 45% increase in damage when she's on full HP, or 30% at all times when she's attacking enemies weak against slash. This version of Ellen is also so good that the future version is not exactly replacing this version. They can work together, and for some content this one is better, for some other content the future version, that is a summer version, is better than this one. So it's a very nice investment, and one of these characters that you want to get to level 50. Just like Poke as well, those characters are just so strong that they can keep being useful. Well, Ellen also deserves a 10 out of 10 because she's coming from the future, and she's the best slash damage dealer. She has a very good attack, a very good cycling for single target. She also has an AoE opener. Not exactly the best AoE cycling, but most slash damage dealers do not have this. We'll have some time to get some good AoE attackers in the future. So Sarah is also another very good character, and she has a very good options of attacks. She has rapid volley. The first attack here, it's an AoE attack. That is mostly for Metal, because it kind of has a problem with cycling here because of 1000 needles. And Rapid Volley, you already know, it's E damage. It's a little higher than some other attacks that we can use with E damage, like Light Ball can be reduced to 4 BP. This one can only be reduced to 5, but it's still enough to use 3 times in a row. So this is very cool. And then the second one is 1000 Needles, and this is super high damage. I think that, well, a very nice attack also. It's 8 power, just like the best attacks that we have on the second slot, like Final Empress, like Ferry, but Ferry has a buff. But a lot of characters have 8 power with 8 BP, reducing it to 6 manages to be a very strong attack for wave clearing, for challenges. It's cool because we don't have many pierce damage dealers, and Sarah enters this stage being a very versatile attacker that can also self-sustain. The last attack is called Phoenix Arrow, exactly where I was getting to. She's a self-sustainable character. Phoenix Arrow is one attack that deals damage and recovers HP. It says here medium effect. It's around, I believe that when she gets maxed, she can heal for close to 400 HP. And if you are using her in the backline, she will not get so much damage. And when she needs more HP, she will just use this attack. You can just use it every 3 turns as well. So Phoenix Arrow should be used in this scenarios. So the problem is that you have to just keep using normal attacks. You can use this. You either use a cycle of every 2 turns 1000 needles, or one attack, 1 skill with 1000 needles, or 2 attacks, 1 skill with Phoenix Arrow. Well, it depends on the content. If she gets attacked, Phoenix Arrow will always be better, so you can at least also do hit damage. Well, hit damage is more hard to find than sun damage or even cold. Now we have some cold attackers. We still lack heat and lightning. Well, now we have a lot of heat as well with this banner. So Sarah also has access to very good passives. I think that, let's click here on style details. The problem is that, well, one of them is more about being a self-sustainable character. She gets damage reducing when she's on full HP. But remember when I criticize characters that have hardy defense, and also her version is the 4th one, so she gets a lot of reduction when she's on full HP. I always criticize characters that have this damage reducing when on full HP, but they have no way to recover HP by themselves. So now that we have Sarah that can recover HP by herself without having to use any LP, so that's a hitting that you do not use LP, she will always have very high defenses to survive in some content. So that brings her volley a lot higher. Fired Up 4 increases her damage by 15%, and Bow Prowess increases it by 10. So 25% increase at all times, and Hardy Defense to reduce incoming damage when she's on full HP, and she will be on full HP depending on how you play with her. If you got a Ward Sarah, you can also inherit a Sun damage attack, so she has Sun and Heat. That could be very interesting for some content, especially for auto play as well. You can start with Phoenix Arrow and then just keep using Sun attack that you inherit from the ward, so that she can just be used in content that has Undead. Yeah, she can be trained in Undead content. Well, I think this Sarah is super cool. She's a very good character. I do believe that she deserves a 9 out of 10. She's the most skippable of the characters. It's not because I don't like the characters, just because they are monsters. And Sarah, he's here just, well, with another Pierce option in a game that has a lot of slash damage dealers. So just to finish, I think that if you have the past version of Sarah, the Ward Banner Sarah, you will have more uses for this one, but this one also sustained by itself. It is also a very good investment for a future Sarah that will also use Phoenix Arrow. Yes, the future version can use a very cheap attack that can heal as well, and she can cycle between using the strongest one and the weakest one, you know. Very good investment for a self-sustainable character that will kind of stay relevant within the future. So this was the banner of Polka. Now let's just go to the banner of Liz, the second part of the banner. Man, we have Liz and Barthélemy, two characters that are super strong. Let's start with Liz. Liz has a splash. This is the second version of the first attack of the twin brothers. Splash. I don't know if they are twins, sorry. It's just like the version of Polka. C damage, 3 BP, you can reduce to 2, so you can just recover some BP too, you can use another skill. Like, well, Aqua Viper is an old skill, Teacher Yunzin can use this. It's a row attack, it's usually hard to use this on auto, so I don't think it's so good. It's C power, 9 BP, critical against frogs. But the last attack is the one that matters. We have Dragon's Fury. It's an attack that uses only 8 BP on fully awakened, so you can use it on turn 1 and on turn 3. Dragon's Fury is a double S damage cold attack that will deal very, very high damage. Another thing that I forgot to mention, and in this event you can get the weapons of the two characters, so they have even more increased power because of their exclusive double S weapons. So using Dragon's Fury with this version of Liz will deal so much damage, man, that will be very nice. The problem with Dragon's Fury cycling is that if you use it with 8 BP, she will just try to use a splash if you are doing this on auto. But for manual play, using Dragon Fury on turn 1 and turn 3 is amazing. For other content, just start with Dragon's Fury and keep using Splash. That should be enough. And, well, let's just see the animation of Dragon Furies, because why not? This remembers me of Water Dragon's Boom. The same attack that we got with Summer Liz. Summer Liz and Liz are very different, because this one is more for single target damage with no other utilities. It's just damage, pure damage, while the Summer version can inflict confusion, she can heal. Well, you can inherit healing or the confusion attack with this version of Liz as well. Depends on you. And confusion will just hit every time with this girl here, because it's medium chance if you get her into magical shower formation where it increases more intelligence, she will keep inflicting confusion. The problem is that we cannot show the final status of this version of Liz, but we can check this passives. The first one is Frost Amp2, increases cold damage by 10%, so it increases only cold, so don't increase the IG break if you get it from Summer style. Further, 4 increases by 15% more, so 25% on times when you are using cold spells. The last one is Frostwort. This is the different version of that Polka passive, where she negates cold damage and counterattacks with a cold water spell when being directly attacked. Very nice. And, well, it says that counterattacks will not activate when Perry is used on the same turn. Well, she doesn't have access to Perry, so I don't know. They just copy-pasted the description. And, well, like I said, the status are not something that we can explain here, since, well, it's only on style level 1 here, but she has the highest intelligence in the game so far. She starts with 46% on level 1, man. She gets very close to 100, a very strong character indeed. That will be the best cold damage for a long time, and especially for single targets. In the future, she gets a different style that is more for AoE damage, and you can use them differently. You can just invest on this one and getting her to level 50 just fine. So Liz also gets a 10 out of 10. She is a character that starts a new generation of characters. That would be very useful. Well, the next one is Barthélemy, and Barthélemy was overhyped, and a lot of people want to use him because of how cool he is. Well, he's very cool actually. Just look here. Hatwind is a attack that is in power 5 VP, attacks all foes. This one is a generic attack. A lot of characters will get this in the future. It's good because it's cheap and can hit all foes. And the second attack is Immolation. This one is a counter attack that allows him to counterattack with fire damage when he's attacking. Well, I don't think you should use this too much because Barthélemy doesn't have much resistance, so it's only for, well, I don't know, very specific moments. Last attack is the reason why people like Barthélemy so much. Abaddon Hands is an attack that uses heat and moon damage. Very powerful, one of the best attacks for AoE in the game. It starts with 12 VP, can be reduced to 9. And it's fast. An attack that uses the fast property means that it will always come first when you use it. Even before the enemies that have the highest agility possible, you will always get this triggered before. So because it's also heat and moon, it's a very unique combination. You don't find this usually. Fire and moon will hit different types of enemies, so he can be used in different content. The only problem here is that it's seed power. Well, seed power is kind of okay. But Barthélemy further increases the potential of this skill because of his passives. It may or may not be enough to finish a single wave, and the Japanese players use this guy here to clear a single wave with just Abaddon Hands. I don't know if we are already on the scenario where he can just finish, say, episode 13 wave with just Abaddon Hands. But when we get to the point where he can be fully maxed with level 50, everything equipped, maybe one double S staff in the future, he will become even better. It's just a very strong character that just gets better with the further you invest. Okay, so let's just give a look on his passives here on style details. We have Invigorate. When landing attack, he recovers BP. That's 40% chance, just like Global Exclusive Katarina. Fire Dump 4 increases damage by 15%, and Engage increases it by 30% on the start of a wave. Like you can see here, start of a round, wave and round is the same thing. So he gets 45% increase on a single turn. That's very good. It's just like Alan, but in his case it's just for the first turn. So he needs to unleash a very strong attack to kill the enemies, because on turn 2 he's not so strong anymore. But people, like I said, use Abaddon Hands to clear the first wave, and then use other characters that can finish the second wave, and Barthélemy will only help finish the third wave. That is if there are enemies remaining, because you use him on the back line of a Magical Shower formation. If you have characters with higher agility, maybe they will be able to finish the enemies without Barthélemy help. So you only need to invest on Hatwind and Abaddon Hands, and just that. You need a Happier with the fire element to get this guy stronger as well. So Barthélemy, because he's just so strong, very useful for AoE damage, a best opener in the game right now, that helps create huge different formations and strategies, because, well, if you manage to get him to clear the first wave, you open different strategies where you can use the skills that uses 13 BP for AoE. There's a lot of different skills in this game that uses 16 BP. You can only reduce it to 13, so they are only useful on the second turn, and then they will be the best pair to be used with Barthélemy. The more characters we get that have fast properties, the stronger Barthélemy becomes as well. So right now he may not be so easy to use, but he is one perfect investment, and so far he is still considered the highest tier in the game. In my opinion, he's a 10 out of 10. So let's go to the next one. Well, I cannot check his intelligence, so I will just show you here that he has very high intelligence and not so high agility, but he does not need agility. Again, he's just for fast damage. Okay, he also has some dexterity because he's a happier user. Well, it allows him to not miss his attacks. That's very cool, because he wants to kill enemies and not miss a single attack. Well, the last one is Julian, and man, Julian is a very different type of tank. Very different, I can assure you. The first attack is called Attack and Defend, and this one is already part of his selling point. He attacks with a deep power, not bad. It's 4 BP, so you can reduce to 3. he attacks and gets a guard up by 25% increase in resistance. So if an enemy attacks him, he will only receive 75% of the damage. But it's not just that, he has a lot of different passes that further decrease the damage that he receives. He needs to start the fight using this attack, and then you can just simply maybe use Supernova later, or just keep sticking to attack and defend. But the first attack that he needs to use is this, and he also needs very high agility to use this before the enemy attacks. So, before we go into Supernova, let's just check Mirage Blade. Well, this is a very old attack that's getting old and older as time comes. It's just AoE damage. I don't think Julian needs this, only if you are using him for farming, because he can just start with Mirage Blade and then just cycle between attack and defend. But that works better if you are using a farming squad that uses strong attacks on the first wave and then just use weaker attacks on the second and third waves. And then Julian's just here to, well, finish some weak enemies or just use his cover ability that we'll be talking later. Well, the last attack is Supernova. Is stronger than BR Crush. It's a double S attack damage. Well, 12 BP, so you can reduce this to 9. 9 means that you can use it every 3 turns. A very good attack. Well, let's just check the passives of Julian, because the passives are the most impressive things about this guy. And the first one is Iron Wall Defense, that when he's attacked, the damage will be reduced. It's Iron Wall Defense 4, so it's a very good effect. He decreases the damage by 25%. So the 25% because of attack and defend, 25% because of Iron Wall Defense. Man, this is already a lot of stuff. And then he has Princess Guard. Princess Guard, it's a cover skill that means that he will take the place of one ally and receive the damage that this ally will receive instead. And there's a high chance here. It's 40% chances. We had Final Emperor from White Day banner, and he also had this, but he only had 10% chances of covering in one attack. 10% is ridiculous, but 40% is very nice. It's almost half chances of getting this to trigger. And if you're using him on an AoE boss that he just keeps using AoE attacks, he can help you reduce the healing that is needed. Because when you are facing an enemy that deals AoE damage, you barely have time to just heal. Because AoE healing spells are just like very far in the future. So Julian helps you just reduce the damage that is inflicted. And also, not just that, man, for the first turn, this guy here has Rock Solid on the start of a wave. When he's attacked, the damage will be reduced by extreme values. It's 50% again. So the damage will be ridiculous, like very, very low damage when he covers someone and become attacked, and he further decreases the damage. You usually don't have everything stacked together because, you know, you'd have to use attack and defend before your enemy attacks on the turn 1, and then you will have Iron Wall Defense and Rock Solid active on the same turn. It's not easy to get everything stacked, but when you do, well, you see an enemy that will deal like 1000 damage will be doing like 100, 200 damage against you. That's a very important thing to help you reduce damage. But well, the only problem is that Julian, while an awesome tank and well, the most different tank that we can use in the game right now, well, I said this before, and I will have to say again, in this game, tanks are not exactly a must-have in most content. Julian will perform very well in content where you can just face a single boss, and also AoE bosses. But, you know, for farming, he's not the best one. Usually, if you are starting the game right now, and then he may help you even more, I think. Or if you are maybe having difficulty with damage that comes from higher end stages, he will help you as well, but he reduces the damage. He reduces the speed of your squad. For clearing, you usually want just damage. The faster you clear in this game, the faster you get rewards, especially when you have treasure cave maps. So Julian, while very good and an amazing tank that has a different type of mechanic, can be skipped in the way that a lot of people can still clear content without him. But still, he's a 9.5 out of 10 and one of the best characters we have right now. Okay, so now we finished this banner here, and it's amazing that we could cover all 6 characters. I know that we still have more characters to talk about, and then I will just do that by going to the exchange shop, because man, now that we have this event, we can get some drops in the stages, the main story stages, and you can use these drops here on half anniversary coin exchange. And I already purchased the platinum tickets. You can get 100 platinum tickets here, so 5 summons on the half anniversary platinum summon. You can also get this guy here, Valdor, and it's a very good character actually. He can just be your submission user if you're still lacking some, but he also has above average damage. Well, you can get him maxed to level 50 just by purchasing the pieces. The game already gives you 150, so very nice. You can already purchase the 2 new weapons. Phoenix Flame is an attack. Sorry, it's a weapon that decreases STR, so it's made for Polka because he's a mage. He does not need STR. Also decreases his endurance, just like staves. It's a stave, fake it as his word. So if you do not get Polka, it may still work for characters like, say, maybe Athelus, since I don't know. I don't think that it works for Athelus, but well, it could work for Athelus since she needs more intelligence to deal debuffs. So, well, yeah, it is what it is. It's a stave fake it as a weapon. So now we have Wave Note. This is a bow for Liz. It's her exclusive weapon that decreases dexterity. So it's not for bow users. It's just, again, a bow fake it as a staff. A staff fake it as a bow, sorry. Increases intelligence, love, will. She can also be used as a healer if she inherits this healing spell from her past version. And it will increase even more the power of the healing spell because of the SP. So, if you get Liz and Polka, you have very good and powerful weapons to use with them. And now we come to the hardest part here, is to exchange one of these characters. Within this event, we got the release of 9 different SS styles that were supposed to be released on Platinum banners, but they never get the chances. So now the developers are just adding the chance for us to choose one of them, at least, maybe more, because we still have to check the home daily missions to see if we can get enough tickets. Because look here on the top, we have this different ticket and this other different currency. This one here is limited, we won't get too many of them, but it's enough to at least choose one of these characters. And guys, do not try to use this right now or today or even soon. Wait for the event to come close to an end. There's 43 days left here. You may summon all of these characters by using the normal half anniversary tickets, so you can just choose the one that's left. The best characters here are Silver. Silver is an elemental attacker with lightning slasher. She can cover some content where the enemies are weak to lightning, and that really helps farming. But there's a lot of RNG with her. She has 2 or 4 hits. Black is a good damage dealer with some counter attack. But man, there's a problem here because you see here is support fast self enters the counter stance, but it's not an evasion counter stance. He still receives damage to deal counter. I don't think he's the best one here. He also get more versions of black in the future. Even one that's for enabling better than this one. So he's not a priority. Silver is good. Urpina is used to increase the value of a future Urpina. This one here is not bad. You see that she can use this thing here that's super amazing. Dual wielding stance. It comes from her original game. She just recovers 3 BP in one turn. So instead of just getting 3, she gets 6, but she does not attack. So 6 more BP on the next one, she can just use dual cross cut again. So every 2 turns, she just uses this attack, and it's an attack that can deal critical damage against Undead and Devil. By all means, she's a very good character, but she's still a slash damage dealer. We have so many of them. And she also has this very unique attack called Dual Whirlwind. It's the best AoE attack that we will have for a long time. Deals critical damage against floating enemies, but look at the BP cost, 17. So she can just use dual wielding stance on turn 1, decrease this to full awakening status, and use this on turn 2. That is still very cool to some content, even like Robin Cup or any other type of content. But just remember that she's not as easy to use. And then we have Ferry, but this version of Ferry is more about counter. She has a counter passive that is evasive, so she will not receive that damage, but only direct attacks. It's just like using Matador all the time. But because it's only direct attacks, it's just not like Illusion from Athelus. Athelus negate any type of a damage. This one doesn't. But she counters the attack, so that can be useful. The problem is that Ferry has very low endurance to be used on the front line, so you have to use her with careful. I don't think that she's the best one, and if you already have the best version that was limited, you should stick with that one, because Double Trick is the best attack, and this version not have access to that. You have to get Double Trick from the past one, and if you already invested a lot on that one, you do not need this. The other one will do a little more damage than this version as well. So we also have Final Empress, and this one is super useful because if you have your own Final Empress, the award version, you can inherit being back into that one. This one also deals a lot more damage than the other one, not just so much, but it deals. So you can just stick to this one if you want. There's this attack called Half Moon that is super strong, is C power, only 3 BP cost. You can also inherit this attack if you want to use her to deal damage here and there and just stick to other attacks most of the time. 2 BP is very cheap, man. So Final Empress is another good choice here. And if there's Jen here as well, another slash damage dealer. We have so many of them. He has this attack here that's triple sword slash. It's a row of foes attack that is better than the ones that we have. Like this is kind of Grave Digger, but better. You know, this better. Jen is a very good damage dealer because of his opener. Life Sprinkler is one of the best attacks for a slash, at least right now. It's a triple S damage, starts with 15 BP, so only on turn... yeah, well, sorry, he can use this on turn 1, because he has power charge too. So, turn 1 he can use Life Sprinkler, that's very, very high damage. He can even beat, I believe, or just get a little more damage than Emilia or Alkaiser, the recent Alkaiser. But they are every one very comparable. Jen can do that for Slash, Emilia can do for Blunt and Pierce, and Alkaiser can do for Blunt. So they are all different, similar, because they use the same type of setup, just turn 1 triple S damage. But this one is Slash. Well, I think we already have way too many Slashes, but Gen is very strong if you want even more Slashers. Katarina can be a little more useful than Jen because she has Glacio's Word, but this version is not needed if you have the global exclusive one. This one can deal a little more damage if you don't consider the passive that increases damage, since it has weak point focus 3 and fired up 4. So she gets 25% increasing damage, I think. I don't remember weak point focus, so if I'm wrong, please forgive me. And the first one, draining attack. So she's better for some content where she can just drain attack. But I still believe that global exclusive is better, since she can use double crush on turn 1 and then maybe on wave 3, and that really helps increasing the speed of farming. But well, this one is better for those that don't have the global exclusive, since she can also use Glacio's Word. And then we have Nora, and Nora is not as impactful, but she has one thing that I really like, that is this attack here called a Dead On. She enters an evasive counter stance, so she will not receive any type of damage, I think. I'm just not entirely sure if she also evades indirect attacks, but it's just like Matador, but a blunt version of this. And she's a little better than Robin because she's a premium unit. She also has power charge too, so it gives her a chance to use Art Shatter. This attack here is single attack, critical against Giant. Is very unique because we don't have this with other characters. There's only one problem, there's delay here. Delay means that she will come later. She will be the last character to be used on this attack here. If you have like the slowest enemy in the game, she will still come after that enemy to use this attack. Because she's a tank and she can be used on the front lines, that is not exactly that much of a problem, but it's still something worth noting. You can also see that it's only 14 BP cost for a triple S attack. That's very cool. And because she already has power charge, she can kind of use this without having to save too much BP. And you can also use that on later with your saved BP if you want. Returning Trust is a very good attack because the C power can only be reduced to 4. So Nora is also a very good damage dealer, I believe. It's just that you can wait to get her if you already have Matador. But like I said, it's Blunt, the other one is Pierce. So it's just different stuff, you know. It's not better or worse, just different. So in my opinion, the best characters to choose from here are Silver, since she brings elemental damage, and we really need elemental damage to clear some content faster. Taria is... I forgot to say about Taria. And she has healing, she has Water of Life and Water Blast. Water Blast is still strong, but it's 9 BP. If you compare to Liz, she cannot do half the damage that Liz can do. It's only for those that do not summon for Liz and want one more cool damage dealer. And yeah, she has Hailstorm, but this one is kind of hard to use unless you have Barthélemy. Since it's 16 BP, you can reduce it to 13, so it only turns 2 damage. Taria is maybe only good if you're thinking to summon for the next version of her that really gets better with Water of Life. So she can deal damage Petrify, she also has access to Petrify, the next version, and Heal. You can see that she has Hard Wallop 3, I don't really like this. For the 4 and Self-Improvement, 25% chance of getting more BP. She doesn't have a good cycling because Water Blast can only be reduced to 7, so on turn 2 she cannot use Water Blast again. You have to wait 1 turn to use this again. So sadly she's not as good as the other characters, just for the inheritance. In my opinion, it's either about Silver, because of elemental damage, Urpina if you are thinking about the future as well in a different playthrough. Final Empress if you already have the first Final Empress. Without the first Final Empress, she's still a very strong damage dealer, but in this case, if you're only 1 damage, you should get Jen. He is better than Final Empress on this regard. And Katarina helps with elemental coverage as well, since some people miss it, the global exclusive version. And Nora is the only one that's left here if you already got the other ones. So these are my opinions, guys. Let's just close here because we already have 40 minutes on this video. Sorry about that, but well, I have to cover everything. And I just want to talk about the other recent content. Well, let's just go here on quests, and you should check some of my past live stream. I cleared this new content here that is on event. Then you will go to attacks. Secret Training Slash is a new type of event where you can face a lot of challenges. There are 20 stages, and then after the 20 stages you have these 5 different challenges here that give you some gems and also some gold pieces. And lastly, this new thing called Formation Metal. The Formation Metal is a currency that you need to use to purchase new formations. Yeah, these formations are overpowered. The problem is that you need 33 to purchase one. You also have to go to the exchange shop in order to see it. And even completing everything, you can only get 25. So wait a little more. I will do a review on the new formations and telling which one is the best, especially based on how you play the game. But right now you can clear all of this, and also I'll be giving the link here to my past live stream so you can check how I defeated these enemies here. Okay, so let me get back here. Battle with Evil Ogre was the first part of the event where you have to face this enemy here for 20 different levels. These ones are very easy. Even people that are starting the game can clear this. You don't really need 40k CP to defeat this enemy here. He is also not resistant against Paralyzement, so you just use Paralyze or Charm or Stun or anything here, and you will easily defeat this Evil Ogre. The challenge is just here on the Secret Training Slash. Okay, so yeah, in the meanwhile, just farm story mode because you want to get the currency to purchase the items from the shop, the bow and the other stuff. So I am running this stage here to try to farm more copies of loot. Yeah, I need to max in, I need to max all the free styles now that I will be missing some premium styles. And just keep farming this because you need a lot of coins. Okay, so well, I think the video ends here. Sorry for being so long, but I had to talk about everything, and also sorry by not being able to edit the whole video. Maybe I will edit later on YouTube, but hope you that it can help you decide upon if you want to sumo or not. Remember, the first 5 steps guarantee you one of the characters, so it's very nice if you are willing to purchase the premium packs. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see each other on the next one. Bye.